Hello everyone and a warm and virtual welcome to Day 3 of Young NTUC's Lit Discovery 2021. My name is Stefan and I'm your host for Lit Discovery, where we deep dive into all things green tech and sustainability today. In its third year, Lit Discovery spans across 4 days, concluding tomorrow. Since last year, Lit Disco had gone virtual to give youths as much access to career resources as possible, and this year, the virtual platform has even more features. You can expect insightful discussions on the main stage, explore job vacancies and network with more than 50 employers over at the jobs market and networking sections. You get to participate in career discovery workshops over at the activity space, and for NTUC Union members, you gain exclusive access to the master classes and a 4-month mentorship with volunteer career guides who have experiences in ASEAN, FinTech, Green Tech, and sustainability. Besides the virtual event platform, there will also be clubhouse sessions between 9:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. tonight and tomorrow. We have so much to share with you, so please remember to mark down the areas that interest you in your schedule. All this would not have been possible without the strong ecosystem of friends and partners who have come together to support youths in achieving your career aspirations. So we will now commence with our first panel discussion for this evening with the topic, the catalyst to shaping cities, a demand for talents in the built environment. And a very warm welcome to our panelists, Mr. Jacob Graf Lambsdorff, CEO, Alba W&H Smart City Private Limited, Ms. Lin Yanxiang, Deputy Group Director, Manpower Strategy and Planning Group, Building and Construction Authority, Mr. Tan Xiaoyan, Chief Innovation Officer, CPG Corporation, Mr. Tan Shijia, Senior Vice President, Corporate Development and Strategy, Chia Tiam Maintenance Private Limited, and this discussion will be moderated by Mr. Zainal Sapari, Assistant Director General, National Trades Union Congress, and we can certainly expect a very lively discussion. So over to you, Mr. Zainal.
Thank you, everyone. First and foremost, I would like to welcome everyone that is joining us online to today's engagement session. Just to be clear that I have the right audience, this is not literature discovery, so we wouldn't be talking about Shakespeare or Jane Austen. So if you're hoping that we are into literature, you are in the wrong group. Neither is it lit disco. I think none of us will be teaching you any new dance move. We will be focusing on the built environment. And the esteemed panelists that we have here, they come from sectors in the built environment services. They have undergone their own respective industry transformation plan, for example, based on the direction given by the Future Economy Council. All of them are gearing themselves up to act as catalysts to shape cities of the future. You will be hearing a lot of chim words such as circular economy, smart city, green building, zero waste, smart FM, building information modeling, and many others. It is very exciting. What all of them they have in common, except for BCA, they are unionized company under BATU, Building Construction and Timber Employees Union. BATU is a very strong union. We have 48,000 members. We represent workers in the construction and construction-related industries, waste management, landscape, as well as facilities management. The panelists have been introduced. They are here to get you excited about sectors in the built environment and what is in store for you to be part of the change agent, to be part of the change maker, basically work in the built environment sector. They want to ensure people who live, work, and play in Singapore, they have an environment that is clean, safe, and green. And how you can play a part in this, in an environmentally friendly way that is sustainable, integrated, and leveraging on technology. So again, if you have any question, I would like to encourage you to post those questions online. Without further delay, I would like to invite our esteemed panelists to share their journey in this sector and what are some of the transformation shift that they have experienced undergoing in their respective sectors in the built environment. Maybe we start off with Mr. Jacob.
Thank you. And thank you for having me here today for me to share. So I work for Alba, a German waste management company, and started my career there in 2014. In 2017, then came to Singapore and built up our operations here. When comparing Germany and Singapore in terms of environmental services, and especially, of course, from what I know, waste management, I still see quite a big difference. In Germany, sustainability, recycling, these things are really ingrained in our DNA. We have a 50-year history now of building up recycling, building up a circular economy, going away from landfill as a first step, then also now moving more and more away from incineration towards recycling. So when I joined this industry in 2014, it was already, it's a very reputable industry and a very reputable job to work in environmental services in Germany. And that was in the beginning when I came here, a stark difference to what I saw in Singapore, where it's maybe not always as highly regarded. Where you hear, oh, the facility is in Tuas, or it's in the middle of nowhere, and that's looked down upon a little bit, it's dirty, it's smelly. And I have to say that already now I'm seeing, in the last couple of years, a shift in sentiment, which I think is great. The government is putting a big focus on sustainability, with the 2030 Green Plan, with new legislation coming in, with more recycling. We are sitting here today talking about the built environment industry, and I'm seeing really a strong shift in that sentiment, where I believe that within the next 5 to 10 years, it will have a similar image in Singapore, and it will be not only respected, but looked up upon working in this industry and doing something good for the environment. And that's something that I'm very excited about for Singapore for the next 5 to 10 years.
Okay, thank you, Jacob. Maybe now we get Ms. Tan to share your experience.
Sorry, that's me.
Ms. Lin, sorry.
Okay, I was a bit confused. Hi, so I'm actually in BCA right now. And just before that, when we were getting together, the panelists were having a brief chat. I was sharing that I actually started my career as an English teacher. So I think the message here is that actually the sector is very welcoming of all sorts of diverse talents, and you don't have to worry that you are not able to join in if you don't immediately have the right background. But I think back to the main topic, which is about the changes in BCA and the transformation for the sector. I think a lot of people, when they think about BCA, it's really as a technical authority. You think of them as a regulator that looks at the safety of buildings. But I think increasingly we saw that the building sector has a lot to contribute to Singapore. So for example, in terms of sustainability, and we started that journey in driving sustainability quite a number of years ago. But at the same time, increasingly we also find that this is a promising sector. It's a sector that's not going to go away. So how can we shift the sector away from what I think Jacob was mentioning, something that's perceived as dirty, dangerous, demanding, like the 3D kind of sector, into one which is modern, technologically advanced, and can offer good jobs and working environment for the people. And I think in that, the shift that I see in BCA as an organization is really working a lot more closely with industry, different stakeholders, including the union, to develop a transformation map. So in 2017, when we developed the construction industry transformation map, it was really together with a lot of stakeholders, including the institutes of higher learning, the union, the industry partners, even young leaders in the industry. So I think what this means for someone who's thinking about joining the sector is that you really have a role to play. It's not going to be a sector where it's about the government saying do X, Y, Z, and then everybody just do it, and then there's no buy-in. But we really want to develop a collective vision that everybody can contribute to, and that is something, and that is how we can move the whole sector together and transform the sector together. So that's a bit of my experience and what it means for the sector. Yeah.
Thank you, Jens. How about you, Mr. Tan?
Thank you. My name is Xiao Yan. So a bit about myself. I'm trained as an architect. Have been practicing, I think, since graduation as an architect. I joined HDB first, and then after that I moved to private sector. So in 2001, I joined CPG. Consultants, okay, which is a subsidiary of CPG Corporation. So CPG Consultants are architects, engineers, and then we do building design consultancy. So I rise up the rank and become the CEO of CPG Consultants. What's interesting is that 2 years ago, I think it was towards the end of 2019, yeah, around there, there was a new challenge for me, okay? There was new opportunity for me to move to the CPG Corporation to take up the current role of this Group Chief Innovation Officer. Okay, so maybe I talk about why CPG look at that. Because I think, first of all, CPG has recognized that innovation is becoming center stage. The world has come to a point where well, in a way, innovation was happening all the time, but in the past, it was more geared towards incremental improvement in your services, the quality, delivery, and all that. But we have come to recognize that transformation changes are coming so fast that we have to make it into a company strategy. So this responsibility fall on me, and I had to step out of my comfort zone to tackle these new challenges, and I have not looked back now. Okay, so second reason for CPG to look at it is that we are multidisciplinary. So we have a design consultancy business, construction project management, construction administration, or construction supervision business, and then we have facilities management. So in the way we reflect the microcosm of the built environment industry, and we recognize that among ourselves, there's a lot of opportunities to look at synergy within our own companies, as well as collaborating with outsiders, with other companies, to redesign or reinvent certain things. Okay, so, but we do need to have both a top-down strategic approach as well as bottom-up cultural change. So that's why I've taken up this role, and I have enjoyed every day of it. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tan. Mr. Yap, how about yourself?
Thank you, Brother Zainul. Hi, everyone. I'm actually Shisha from Chai Town Maintenance. Chai Town Maintenance might not be so well known to a lot of the audience out there, but we are actually one of the homegrown and largest environmental services company in Singapore. So we do a lot of indoor, outdoor cleaning, waste recycling, waste management, and so on. Frankly, if you ask me 20 years ago when I graduated from NTU and Mass Comm, I would never imagine that I would actually have gone this path and eventually end where I am. Along the way, I started my career with IE Singapore, one of the government agencies. I have done an overseas posting. I was a diplomat for 3 years. Came back, I was at SGX for 5 years. I did my MBA in NUS. Did a couple of stints with a few listed companies doing real estate. Then, along the way, the opportunity at Chai Town came along. The question that I get asked a lot is why? But you think about it, actually a lot of the things that I do, even as an investor or even as a real estate developer, actually ties back to what Chai Town is doing. The only difference that what Chai Town really present is that we are actually at the crux, at the pivotal point of what the circular economy is about. Because cleaning, waste, and recycling is all what the future is all about, and it's about sustainability. And that's where I felt that it is a great opportunity to come in and be part of the team and to see how we can bring the company, as well as together with the government initiative, to bring us to the next lap of growth. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, Ms. Lin, we have something common. You're a former teacher. I'm also a former teacher. You know, when I was a teacher, I was a geography teacher. I used to teach my students on the environment, how we could actually save the environment. So the approach that we use is words such as reduce, reuse, and recycle. But in today's context, it is much more holistic, it is much more integrated, it is done in a bigger way, by which it involves many sectors undertaking a green initiative, exploring a better technology, where we want to create an environment which is safe, clean, and green for everyone. And with the current pandemic, every sector, they have to reinvent themselves. They have to envision what their sector would be like in this new normal. Maybe I can get each of you, if you could share one thing that your organization has been working on the sustainability front and how it makes for a smarter and more efficient city. Anyone, please? Okay, Jacob?
Yes, absolutely. So For us, at the moment, and in the past years already, it's, as in many, many industries, it's all about digitalization. Waste management has traditionally been a very analog business. And I saw that especially here in Singapore. When we talk about collection, we have a map of the city. We draw the lines where the truck is supposed to drive. This is the daily route. And then for the next day, we have another route, and so on. So here, for example, we leverage digitalization, similar to if you look at apps such as Grab and these kind of ride-hailing services where they optimize their logistics. That's something that we do. We collect data. Our trucks, I think, have 3 SIM cards, weighing scales where we collect data on the weight of refuse and recyclables generated at every premise for every day. So we can analyze and see how is waste developing, how are recycling rates developing. We work with cameras and AI recognition to see how good are the recyclables that are actually being brought in. That's something that we're trialing now on our trucks. And there are many, many ways where we can collect data, leverage data, and then improve our efficiencies to make our operations more efficient. So that's really something that we are focused on now. And that will also, and I think we get to that, change the scope of jobs in our industry quite substantially in the coming years.
So how about yourself, Brother Shisha? You're also in the environmental services. Your competitor is speaking to you.
No.
Partner.
We are partners. Well, I think there are quite a few innovations that we have pushed through in the last couple of years. There's no question, no doubt that we are in a very labor-intensive industry. And my employees are our greatest strength, my greatest assets, but they're also my greatest challenge in terms of sustainability. We are a victim of our own success. Singapore has grown very well, has educated our next generation very well, and if you're just doing the same way of cleaning day in, day out, we are not able to attract, neither are we able to retain. So we have to change the way we do things. By introducing mechanization is the very, very start, using machines, and now we're looking at predictive maintenance using IoT sensors, feedback panels, notification through handphones, and so on to provide predictive maintenance rather than the usual way of just going into the toilet every hour, sign a signature, and there's no way to ascertain the quality. And at the same time, we're also introducing robots. In fact, quite a lot of the robots that we have introduced have been deployed in places like, for example, Jewel and so on. You'll see the cute little robots. We have deployed that into quite a lot of our indoor cleaning sites where we use that to complement the human beings. Because human beings we are not able to replace them. There's never intention to replace them, but to complement and supplement them to improve productivity and allow our cleaners to work longer and safer. Yeah, so that's where we are really working towards. Yeah.
Just to be clear, when we talk about the built environment, we're not only talking about the waste management industry. Under the built environment is also the facility management. So in the facility management, they again have undertaken a lot of initiative, and one of the key initiative they are undertaking is to introduce smart facility management. Maybe I can get our brother to share a little bit about what is this idea of smart FM in short. Brother. Yes.
Me, okay. Smart FM is about applying technology to, and as well as digitalization processes to buildings and facilities. I think today we can feel all kinds of technology being happening, IoT, all kinds of sensors. Even your smart devices is connected to data in the cloud, and all of these technology that are happening that we as consumer can feel can be applied to the built environment. So the next question is how best can we deploy this technology to help the building operation? So there are many, many things we can do. Benefits we can bring to the owners and occupants, like a more comfortable environment. How can this support human productivity? How can we make the place healthier and safer for people? So this is one aspect. Second aspect is that after we have delivered all these benefits to people, how can we make that operation more efficient? For example, by bringing down the energy use, by bringing down the water use, right? Reduce the wastages. And then third, can we then, as we develop, find ways not to damage the environment so much? In fact, can we find ways to overlay greenery on buildings. This is something that Singapore has put in a lot of effort. Can we integrate greenery, a bit of a nature back to building? So we are exploring ways to do all that. Okay, so there's many things we can do, and we are still discovering new ways of doing all that. So come back to FM. So eventually it's about, after we have built all this fantastic environment, how do you upkeep? How do you find ways to, it takes a lot of effort to maintain it. And then Singapore, our labor forces are not growing. So can we apply technology to simplify things, right? And then certain things that in the past maybe requires a lot of human intervention, can we automate it? So this is where Smart FM come in.
Yeah, thank you, brother. So if you notice, many of them have been describing some exciting things that are happening in their respective industry. This is actually part of the larger industry transformation map, which every sector have developed together with the other stakeholders. And BCA is actually the lead agency in some of the ITMs in the built environment sector. Maybe I can get Ms. Lin to share. For the construction and facility management, what is the future the stakeholders in the construction and facility management envisage their industry will be like in the future?
Yes, so I think when we went through the industry transformation map, we also thought about what are the different stakeholders involved and what do we want out of it. I think at the end of the day, the built environment is for everyone. We all live, work, play in the physical infrastructure, and all of us want it to be safe, high quality, sustainable. So that actually requires that it's supported by competent professionals in the sector and also with strong firms, because after all, it's firms that deliver the outcomes for the sector. So I think when we discussed what would actually transform our sector and position us well for the future to achieve these outcomes, what we saw was that we identified 3 transformation areas. So the first was really that we cannot construct the way that we've always been doing, where everything is happening on site. It's a very outdoor, exposed kind of environment. So we needed to shift to more prefabrication off-site. So you may have heard of this term called Design for Manufacturing and Assembly, DFMA. You can think of it a little bit like a Lego construction. So rather than cast all the building components on site and require a lot of people to do it, we try to automate it in factories off-site, and then there's better quality control of all the components as well. And then that's delivered on site to be assembled. So everything is faster, is safer, it creates a better site environment. So that was one of the areas that we were looking at in terms of automating and greater prefabrication. The other area is what we call integrated digital delivery. And it's really about using a lot more digital technologies in the design and construction process. I think you've heard the other panelists talk about how technology is also being adopted downstream at the buildings, operations and maintenance part of the value chain. But at the same time, even in design and construction, we wanted to shift towards using more what we called, I think just now Mr. Zaino mentioned, BIM, Building Information Modeling. So rather than drafting everything out 2D and you cannot really transfer or layer on additional information, we wanted to use this computer modeling where we can see everything in 3D, and then you can actually layer a lot of things on it. For example, you can use it to simulate virtual construction, so you can see where certain processes might go wrong, so you don't actually make errors, have to rework and waste time. And at the same time, we wanted to sort of have the backbone of the digitalization actually go all the way that you can hand over to the asset operations and delivery as well. So that was the digitalization part. And I saw actually one of the questions that was raised was about whether the built environment sector offer meaningful career. So I think the third transformation area that we really wanted to focus on was on sustainability. Actually, buildings contribute about 20% of Singapore's carbon emission. So if we really want to do something about climate change and reduce carbon emission, it's very, 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 very important that we green buildings. So I think one of the things that BCA has been doing is actually coming up as a policymaker is to come up with this green mark certification scheme where we provide benchmarks for how buildings can be green. And you may have heard earlier this year at the Committee of Supply debates about the Singapore Green Plan 2030, where we really want to set very ambitious targets for ourselves to basically contribute to this fight against climate change. And I think in this regard, for the building sector, we've actually set this 80-80-80 in 2030 target. So our first target is that for all buildings by gross floor area, we want to green 80% of it. So it's a target that was set quite a while ago. We continue to make progress. We're at 43% now, and we'll press on. The next one is that for new developments, we want to set a higher benchmark, because for existing buildings, there's maybe only so much you can do to retrofit, but for new buildings, you can incorporate the latest design to be green, to have natural ventilation, to make it more energy efficient. So we want to shift 80% of the new buildings towards what we call super low energy building. So that's about 60% more energy efficient than the buildings of, say, maybe 15 years ago. And finally, we want to push the leading edge of technology. So for best-in-class building, we want to see whether we can have them 80% more energy efficient than the benchmark of like about 15 years ago as well. So this is compared to the super low energy building is 60% better. Now the best buildings must be 80% better. So I think this is our 80-80-80 by 2030 target for sustainability. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Lin. If you are not excited with what she has been describing, I'm not sure what world. We are looking at integrated digital delivery. We are looking at green building. We are looking at building information modeling. These are all very good jobs for PMETs with very good career growth, career prospect. Maybe before I continue, I will take a question from our online audience. Pei-Yun is asking a question. What is the greatest challenge in waste management in Singapore, and what kind of talent is needed in the waste management industry? Any one of you can answer?
Okay, I'll go ahead. That's a great question. I think one topic that was already mentioned is that from a purely operational standpoint, manpower is certainly an issue at the moment. That's a difficulty due to also, let's say, external circumstances at the moment. In terms of the whole industry and the circular economy approach, there are still many challenges remaining in Singapore. That starts with education and awareness, a willingness to recycle, a willingness to segregate waste. That also has to do with government legislation, which is coming more and more to support a more sustainable approach to waste management. That comes with consumer behavior and consumers being willing to potentially pay a little bit more for more sustainable solutions. It comes with brands then also being forced to focus more on sustainability and become more environmentally friendly in their operations. So there are many, many factors at play here, and there are many stakeholders involved in making waste management a success and moving Singapore closer to a zero waste nation. So that's the goal, and I think everybody has their part to play in it. In terms of the talents that we are looking for in waste management, it's extremely broad. So on an operational level, yes, we need for collection drivers and attendants. Yes, we need in a recycling plant sorters. But it's extremely broad. We have a sustainability team that's focused on PR, marketing, education, and awareness. We have, in essence, an in-house consultancy team that's working on tenders, doing waste audits for customers who want to improve their own operations. We have engineers and technicians that work on designing new plants and in the end constructing plants or overseeing construction. So it's really extremely broad, and I would think that there is a job for anybody in the waste management industry. So please do apply.
Maybe if I can ask Chair, in your particular company, what are some of the skill set that you are looking for? Is there any specific course of study that students should be doing to increase their prospect of joining your company, specifically your company, Chaitiam?
Well, I won't narrow down a specific course, Brother Zainal, but I think maybe I'll just add on to what Jacob said earlier first, because Chaitiam is also in waste. We have also our own semi-automatic material recovery facility, and we just recently set up our own e-waste recovery facility as well, working very closely with Alba and Jacob's company. he's spot on. I mean, right now we have, automation is something we strive to do, and we try to introduce all the latest equipment to reduce the dependency on human beings, but we still need human beings. The only difference is that, like for example, the e-waste plant that we just set up, we have a bit more interesting roles that differ from the usual mindset of what a recycling plant involves. For example, I have a chemical treatment plant inside. I need people with chemical background to handle the acids, the analysis, technicians, and some manual sorters. But we also have a lot of automations where what I need is maybe more a forklift driver, multi-skilled worker, rather than just someone who's just there taking an airbrush and clearing up the different sets. So the range of roles have definitely diversified, even for the MRF as well. But back to cleaning, we have actually worked closely with NEA to bring on board a few Earn and Learn programs students who have actually taken their diploma courses in some of the polytechnics, in the built environment sector. But we are open to really anyone with the right aptitude, because eventually we are in the service industry for cleaning. It's not just about how technically able you are, because if you come in with the right passion and attitude, we are an in-house approved training organization. We have necessary WSQ modules, and we have even sent some of our higher potential employees to take on diplomas as well under the WSQ or Kaplan programs. We can train you. But what is most important is the aptitude and the ability to be out there to serve and handle the customers. I think that is something that no education can teach.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, brother. See the keywords, passion, attitude. These are very important attributes that employers look for in their future employees. Maybe I would like to invite CBG also as well to share what sort of talent are you looking out for people who are keen to be part of the Smart FM movement.
Okay, maybe I can approach it from the broader perspective. Because our company handles both design consultancy, then project management, all the way to FM. So in fact, the kind of talent we are looking for kind of mirror the whole sector. So on the one hand, we are looking for planners, architects, engineers, project managers, and then we are also looking for facilities managers. The background they required is a variety. They can be mechanical engineers, they can be project managers. So we need all kinds of skills. When it comes to FM sector, you need both technical skills, people who understand building facilities, but very often a more important skill set is the people skill, because you have to deal with user occupants, and your ability to relate to them, understand their needs, and then find ways to quickly resolve issues becomes very important. So and then one more skill set that maybe we have to be adding to this the repertoire of skills is the digital skill sets. More and more, the moment you are talking about Smart FM, you have to be comfortable with understanding, appreciating, using technology. Okay, so I think our youth today are quite well equipped towards all this. So I think there are a lot of opportunities for them to explore, to seek out the kind of different career paths.
So again, you hear words such as people skill, and many of our youth today, they are digital native, so they will get used to the digital requirement more easily compared to people of my generation. But again, maybe I would like to direct another question to Ms. Lin. How is the government trying to encourage people, students, to actually pursue an interest in the built environment? What sort of grants, scholarship that is being offered out there?
Okay, so actually we have quite a comprehensive set of programs, so don't regret asking the question. But what we realized is that I think passion and meaning was something that was raised quite a lot. I think that's quite true. And we realized that the built environment sector can offer very meaningful careers. I mean, the built environment, like I said just now, is here to stay, right? As long as we have people here, we're always going to need physical infrastructure, parks, schools, hospitals, residences. So the career is an evergreen kind of sector. And so we want to actually raise awareness of the kind of careers in the sector to students as young as in pre-IHL. So we have the iBuild SG Club. You can Google it, you can find a link and you can sign up. It's free of charge. So we run workshops related to sustainability, some of the digital tools we use. There's like a bi-monthly, every 2 months we have digital learning journeys. We do have physical journeys in the past, now it's digital because of the COVID situation. So you can actually find out a lot more about the sector as a youth. And at the same time, for students who are in IHL courses, we do offer scholarships and sponsorships for those who want to pursue these courses. We actually run a pre-internship formation program that we just started. We're in our 12th run now. It's very, very well received. So many IHL students these days, they actually have to do an internship to expose them to the sector that they are actually studying about. And to make it more meaningful, actually for those in built environment courses, we offer is free of charge for now. But anyway, we let them have this 4-day program where they get exposed to the latest transformation areas, how to prepare themselves to make the most out of the internship. And our hope is that when you actually have a good internship experience, you will want to stay in the sector, you will learn about what you can achieve in the sector, and you get a good experience, and then you will convert to a BE career. So these are some of the things that we are doing for students.
So again, what has been described to Ms. Lin is something which is quite exciting. We are trying to get our tertiary students to be interested in the built environment at a very early stage, and support is given in the form of a study award scholarship. So if you are interested, keen more, you can visit BCA's website. The details are inside. So again, I will take another question from our online audience, is directed to Ms. Lin. As the governing authority for the construction development in Singapore, how would you encourage my company or other companies to embark on the direction of ITMs together with the unions and trade associations? Ms. Lin.
So I think that with the direction of the ITM, I shared the 3 different transformation areas. So it depends on which part of the value chain your sector is in. But I think one big area of support that the government provides is actually in providing funding support for technology adoption and automation. So if you want to mechanize or if you want to actually purchase digital solutions, there's funding support that's available. I think it's under the Productivity Solutions Grants. And then if, for example, for a company that wants to develop its workforce, if you are keen in bringing in a new pipeline of fresh graduates, we do offer co-funding for the scholarship and sponsorship program that Mr. Zaino mentioned just now. It's actually quite generous co-funding on BCA's part, and then the student will be bonded to your company. And at the same time, I think for many, many companies, you do have a large existing workforce, so there's also a lot of support for training and upgrading, especially in the ITM areas. So there are courses that are offered by IHLs, other training providers, even BCA has its own academy to provide the training, and these also receive generous funding support to maybe identify the training needs. The built environment sector, actually, we co-developed this skills framework for built environment together with the different stakeholders as well. So you can refer to that to look at what are different job roles and what are new skills and competencies that are required. And maybe just a little bit of a shout out particularly to BIM, because it's an area that many companies say that they would like to have, be able to hire more personnel. And it's an area where we also offer professional conversion programs. So it could be for people from other sectors with some digital experience to convert to this role in the built environment sector. But it could also be a redeployment kind of program where if you have existing professionals who are maybe doing 2D drafting, that you want to help upskill them and convert them to a BIM kind of career that's more about 3D BIM, then there are also such professional conversion programs. So I would encourage your company to actually look up some of these programs, the ITM, on BCA's website, and there will be contacts on, depending on which area you're interested in and on the kind of support that you can have. Yeah.
Yeah, the participant earlier was asking from the view of a new graduate joining the company. If you are a new graduate joining the company, the first thing that you should do is to be a union member. Because the union, we work very closely with our unionized company to form a company training committees where we actually discuss with management what are some of new skill set that would be beneficial to the workers, and we work with the company to make sure that the workers are equipped with such a skill set. For example, Batu actually worked with CPG to organize training with the use of drones because under Smart FM, drones was one of the in thing which could be utilized for building inspection and many other things. Okay, we are coming towards the end of our session. Maybe a question to each of our panelists. If there is one final piece of advice that you want to give to the youth today who are keen on joining your sector, but they are discouraged by their family and friends, what will you tell the youth? Maybe we start with Chai Tiam.
Well, my industry, I'm sure many of you all, when you are growing up, or we were growing up, you remember your grandmother or your mother telling you that you must study hard, you know? Or else you'll end up sweeping the floor and, or you know, clear rubbish and sweep the floor. I think the industry has evolved a lot, many generations from that. Today, the average cleaners are not just using the normal broom, the mops, but they are using technology, they're using equipment, and with the new PWM, with upskilling and change of job scope, there's actually a lot of new areas that I think for new graduates, they can come in to explore. Like for example, just to sell a bit of our own koyok, we have, besides the ways and other things, we also have our own command center. We have our fleet management system and so on. So it's not just, today's cleaning is not just about the cleaners using the mop and pan, but there are many things to put the whole system together and to improve productivity, give the best service, and make it as safe and sustainable as possible. So keep an open mind. Yeah, that's all I can say.
How about yourself, Xiaoyan?
Okay, I want to start by saying that when families and friends give you advice, they meant well, right? But as an individual, you must remember one thing. When families and friends give you advice, it's based on their experience, which is based in the past. You, as a youth, looking ahead, you must decide for yourself. So today, you have to look at the world and evaluate. With the kind of challenges, climate change, if we want a better environment, we want a more inclusive society, better, more livable cities for people, smarter cities so that our life becomes simpler, quality becomes better. And you think you have a role to play in that role, right, in this kind of future. You decide. You have to decide for yourself. Do you want to be part of that future? So don't take. I mean, you can take the advice from the wisdom from the past, but at the end you have to make that decision. You have to make the call. It's your life, right?
Well said, brother. How about you, Miss Lim?
And I think I'll just add to that to really encourage you to actually go for internships or try out some of these jobs in the sector. I think nothing is better than seeing is believing, like experience it for yourself. And I think you can really get to see how some of our firms and industry is really changing the way we are building things. And I think that's the personal experience probably the best. Yep.
Yourself, Jacob?
I would like to turn that question around. Why would you not join this industry? Honestly, in my opinion, it's a no-brainer. It's a massively growing industry. As you said, we have to look forward and not backwards. It's going to be a massively growing industry. How often do you hear the words sustainability, circular economy, recycling, green buildings, renewable energy, all these kind of things? It's only going to increase in the future. In my opinion, there is still a significant lack of talent in the industry, and you can have a fantastic career if you enter this industry. So really, I would ask, why would you not join? You should.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard the panelists. Again, I would like to echo what they said. Join a profession where you can make a difference. It can be about making someone's life better, saving the environment, or even making people smile. I recall there was actually a video of a crew that does waste collection. He has been working in that line for 30 years. He stays in that line because he finds his work to be very meaningful. He keeps the environment clean because in a clean environment, he ensures that people will feel happier to live, to work, and to play. So at the end of the day, whatever profession that you decide to choose, hopefully it is in the built environment. Do what you can with what you have and wherever you are. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, panelists, for the discussion. Thank you, Mr. Jacob Graf Lambsdorff, CEO, Alba W&H Smart City Private Limited. Thank you, Ms. Lin Yanxiang, Deputy Group Director, Manpower Strategy and Planning Group, Building and Construction Authority. Thank you, Mr. Tan Xiaoyan, Chief Innovation Officer, CPG Corporation. Thank you, Mr. Yap Xu-Chia, Senior Vice President, Corporate Development and Strategy, Chai Tiam Maintenance Private Limited. Of course, thank you to our moderator, Mr. Zainal Sapari, Assistant Director General, National Trades Union Congress. Thank you very much, panelists. And I hope you, our online audience, have enjoyed the first panel discussion. We will commence the next session in just under 5 minutes. Remember to click on the next session. It can be found on the platform's main stage or main lobby. See you in a while.